and welcome to my presentation. For my project, I decided to create an exhibition showcasing my design work using the emerging technology WebVR. Within this presentation, I will explain the ideas that inspired my design decisions, the purpose of my FrameVR exhibition, and the key concepts behind my ideas. When carrying out the first half of this assignment, I had created a detailed plan and had discovered current exhibits, works of art, and exhibition stands that had sparked ideas. To have a more detailed idea for what I would specifically like to include within the FrameVR environment, I continued to explore possible topics for my work and ways of displaying it. This led to the idea of having an exhibition hall dedicated to prints that incorporate hull phrases and a woodland relaxation area. The purpose behind this project was to create an immersive space that the audience can interact with and learn from. My aim was to not only showcase my work to potential employers or customers, but to also give the user a lesson on hull phrases. Additionally, when learning about extended reality, there were a lot of ethical considerations that affected the user's well-being, which inspired the relaxation area to encourage users to have a meditative moment. One of the key concepts for this project was to allow the users their autonomy and agency, but also as a consideration of the user's experience, guide them through the journey, which is why I included signposts, arrows, and a map. This concept relates to choice overload, which is one of the laws of UX. It will hopefully reduce the chance of the user being overwhelmed by reducing the number of options. Even though the target audience for the FrameVR space is potential employers, I made the decision for the language used within the space to be informal, due to the theme of the whole slang section. Whilst the language used is informal, it is still polite and clear, which is a strong representation of how I communicate within a professional setting. Within this project, I not only learned how to navigate, edit and transform an emerging tech software, FrameVR, but I also learned how to use 3D modeling software Blender, which was used to create sculptures and models to import into FrameVR. I also learned how to use creative illustration app Procreate that I used to create illustrations for the relaxation area. And I continued to build on my knowledge of using Adobe Illustrator by using this to create the branding, the print posters, and the signage. I also continued to build knowledge on how to use Adobe Photoshop to make the mock-ups of the print designs. In addition to this, I learned about file types and sizes and different elements of design that affect file sizes, which in turn has an impact on the WebVR software. Due to me using WebVR for this project, I didn't have to design a 360 space from scratch. I had chosen a space that suited my plan, and it felt more like becoming an exhibition designer and envisioning the space with the right items put in the right places. However, to enhance the space, I included 3D models that acted like stud walls to adapt the space to fit my needs. As mentioned earlier, I had not previously used Blender, and when following tutorials for more complex assets I considered bringing in, these were difficult to follow as they expected the user to have a strong understanding of how to use the software already. These more complex models were not brought in due to the high number of polygons and complex textures, which could have affected the environment's load time and in turn the user's experience. Thank you for watching, and the references can be found on my blog.